Hey everyone. I guess I'm the last thing between you and break, so I'll try to zoom through this. We moved the schedule around a little bit. So nice to meet you all. I'm Amit. I'm the CEO of Proof of Play. We make a game called Pirate Nation. Um, just a little bit about me. I've been in the games industry for a while. Worked on the Unreal Engine, Gears of War, Sims 2. I was a lead developer, co-creator of Farmville, 300 million users, $1 billion in revenue. 15 million. I have a venture fund investing in AR and VR. Did metaverse stuff. Basically, I've been spending decades of my life thinking about virtual worlds, virtual economies. I had an NFT marketplace back in 2018. Minor contributor to the 1155 standard. So I've also been in crypto for a while. Um, and like kind of the culmination of everything we're doing here at Proof of Play is like kind of a, like all of my existing like career into one thing. So the way that I kind of got into AW, and this is important because it kind of is still our driving thought here, even though like the stuff we're doing day to day doesn't look like it. Is read a lot of sci-fi, especially like utopian sci-fi about what do abundant societies look like, and the idea was always like I came back to like biology's thing about the network state and like how do you go and create these actual digital universes and I don't know. I'm a little cynical in the sense that like I don't think that you just give people digital passports. They'll come and just start building in your digital nation or whatever it is. I think you actually have to like Trojan horse them into it. Um, and the closest thing I think we have to actual like digital worlds that people are actually spending significant amount of time there in is like something like Fortnite or Minecraft, and then that thing potentially could evolve into what we think of like a fully digital reality. But because of the centralized nature of it, it's just it seems unreasonable. Um, and so, for us, the idea was always like build really great, engaging games, get people into it, give them the tools to be able to build livelihoods within your ecosystem and world, and basically, then progressively decentralize, and then you actually kind of like made this thing, right? So we started doing that in 2021, like almost 3 years ago. So what's changed from then to now? And then we've kind of seen a lot. One is AI and AI capabilities have accelerated a lot. Crypto adoption has kind of slowed down. There was tailwinds back then. Ethereum's lost a lot of mind share. Like when I think about like the uses, the non-financial uses of Ethereum, it was basically art and in games, and art's kind of died. The NFT ecosystem's basically gone, it's bled dry. A lot of the culture has moved to Solana. Metaverse style products have also fallen out of favor. I think Facebook adopting the term meta is basically like put like a wet blanket on the entire idea of the metaverse a little bit. And Fortnite is kind of making it work, but through like IP deals and so on. But my view of that is that Fortnite's become people's third place, right? People, you come for the game, you stay for the community, you stay for your friends, and anyone who's played an MMO knows that, right? AWS has gotten better. When we started, Mud, Dojo, those things like had just started to come out. I remember being mind blown at the last Devcon when I saw the Mud talk. I was like, oh wow, these guys they really did a good job and have like really solved a lot of problems, have clarity of thinking, and just awesome work, by everyone who's building the infra. And finally, some of these things are shipped to mainnet, which is also cool, including us. So a little bit about, I was actually asked to include this slide, so I'm just going to just give you guys an idea because I think I want to make sure that there's like real data out there on like where we are, what we're doing, and the state of the industry a little bit, because I do think that, we have hit a level of scale that is significant. So we have about 260,000 pirates minted. We have today 57,000 DAU in the game. 83,000 MEU, 34% D30 retention. These are like really good numbers in terms of like mobile gaming retention numbers for anyone that's been in mobile gaming. I also think this is enough scale to start experimenting with like second order mechanics. Like what does it look like if you start creating guilds? What does it look like when you start creating like player owned businesses? Like you have enough like end there to like actually start running experiments. 28 million secondary marketplace volume. The L1 stuff with our like pirate NFTs is not that interesting. What's really interesting to me is what's happening with the game items, and are people actually trading these things? Do they find value in the game economy enough to where as we release new features, there's like actual like price changes and stuff that happen within the economy? We're on two chains. We're on Arbitrum Orbit, and we have interop between them. So basically, we ended up hitting a scaling limit with our first chain, and had to split. So we're now on two different chains. We essentially built a custom interop layer to allow the chains and people to trade between each other. It's not fully there yet. We're missing like one thing, which is like cross chain execution, but we do have the ability if like you're on chain A and I'm on chain B, I send you some tokens. It knows which chain you're on, will automatically like invisibly bridge between the chains. So for the player's perspective, you don't know which chain you're on. And we have some stuff that's centralized. Sometimes people call us out on this stuff, so I'd rather just say what it is and what our plans are for it. Basically, we have battle validation, VR fulfillment, cross-chain message passing are all centralized, but we have ideas on how to like decentralize those things. Yeah, we like I said, we peaked at about 45. Actually, it was about 80 million megagas before Orbit Chain started to break, and we just keep shipping every week. So the game, it looks like this. If you haven't seen it before, it looks like a mobile game. Like our artists are actually really good. They've like I think done a great job. And then, one of the things that has really worked well for us, it just kind of speaks to some of the other talks, is that we do have like incentivized onboarding. My view of this is you basically go and you give people like, it's like going to Costco and getting like a free sample. Like try this thing out. Some people just eat the sample and go away. Some people decide they want to buy the full, like whatever package. And I think it's like a mistake to not embrace this stuff, because this is one of the things that sets Web3 apart from traditional games and then actually shifts the cost of user acquisition down. So, in order to get to any level of scale, you have to essentially have like some level of like monetization, some way of acquiring users. And as long as there's an arbitrage opportunity there, you can like put infinite dollars into this thing to actually scale the game. So on that note, in addition to kind of, giving people, trying to bring down the cost of bringing a new user in because you can incentivize them, we're also actually focused on monetization. So we have like a shop, basic stuff. This is what the marketplace looks like. And, we have the ability to like let people buy our premium currency with our native token, which launched in June. The other thing that we've been doing is spending a lot of time on economics and like actually like creating real dashboards. This is all public information. So like this is like a public dashboard. We actually do look at like how do you actually make the entire game economy work? And it's with real players, which is really awesome. The last thing that we haven't really talked too much about is how do we ship so quickly? So this is something, this is a custom editor we built in-house. It's like a ECS editor. And basically, our like game designers have the ability to go in, edit game data, press a single button, basically publish the chain. We've given some of our builders like early access to this. If you're curious and you want to see it, I'm happy to just give you access to it. But yeah, it's basically like, having kind of worked at Epic, I saw kind of the power of the tool set of engines, not just the engine itself as being the actual thing that people wanted to buy, because that was essentially the thing that allows your go-to-market to go faster, right? And our like entire mantra internally about how we run the company is just ship cycle. How do we ship faster? How do we have more tests? How do we get more things out? And so like it actually made sense for us to go and build this because it allowed us to just bring down the cycle speed of releasing more stuff to mainnet and to actual users. So I kind of view kind of the challenges that we have and the challenges kind of the autonomous worlds community has. There's some that keep coming up. I don't think we solved all scale and tech hurdles. I know that Mud's working on some like multi-region stuff to kind of make their thing work. We just basically did the equivalent of database sharding by having multiple chains. At this point, we can scale, I think, to a million users comfortably, like a million DAU comfortably by just adding more chains. The per user unit economics don't quite make sense though, which basically means that we need more headroom per chain in order to actually like make the numbers work and to make this like a profitable thing. This is a tough one because like I think that like for distribution, ultimately, like, my view of it is just like, it's actually like, I think a bunch of people have been talking about the infra stuff, but I think it's a big mistake to not focus on actually like getting real users into your game and like having testing, your ideas out with reality. Right. We also have this belief that, if we want to do some of the later stage stuff that comes with AWs, like we actually just need to get like real people to like engage with our products. So actually build something people want. There's a quote here: "Great products get to become great platforms. Great platforms don't necessarily become great products." Like That's a quote from Eddie Q from Apple, right, about how they think about their developer ecosystem. And so our North Star has always been just build a fun game and actually get, and then that is measured by standard mobile gaming KPIs, things like retention, active usage, etc. And if we actually have real scale there, and then we get to chance to actually maybe go do some of the other cool things that we've been talking about. Okay, so hot takes. I think there's too much debate and period test around what AWS. Period. Like I actually think like it's killing a lot of ideas on the vine, right? Before they get a chance to actually like see their day in the sun. Um, I think we should just all be shipping more, and then test these things with like real people and like really see what happens if you ship to mainnet and then refine from there. Um, this make content a reality. That's actually a quote from Justin from Mud, and so I'm gonna credit that, and I think it's a great way of putting it. Also, cold start problem. Like you actually need nothing draws a crowd like a crowd. Like you need like actual people there. You need some level of minimum scale for these things to work and for the game to be fun. And so I believe there's like real network effects in this ecosystem, and so you need like a minimum number of players to actually just like get get some of these ideas going. So some things we can do, actually focus on just like look at like user onboarding as like a first order thing. We need to make unit economics work, vertical scalability. I think the GigaS chains are really exciting for that. Help builders be successful. So this is I think this was mentioned in one of the earlier talks too, is like, people are going to build on your platform because you're like actually like incentivizing them in some way to do so. Like people's time is valuable and they have opportunity cost. And my view of that is like, and even if you look at kind of like Facebook or YouTube as platforms, like they view their successes are their like creators successful? Are they making money? Are they able to make a livelihood there? At that point, you become a real platform, right? And so like, it's not just about like, oh, like you have the ability, here's an SDK, like go and start building. It's like, well, no, like here's an SDK and that'll help you get to market, but we also have like a bunch of users to bring to your product. We have payment rails so that you can like start charging them, or we have some way of you to share in the economic success of it as well. And so I think that's sometimes lost when we're just thinking about like the open source, open data nature of AWS. I also this is another one. I think at the limit, like we've fought with bots quite a bit. So we launched our token in June, and basically did like a played airdrop campaign, and that really helped kind of scale the game. But ultimately, what ended up happening was a lot of the users were bots. So we peaked out about 80K DAU, and then we banned about 30,000 people. And my head of lead product guy is like former Square, like worked on anti-fraud. And so like we're like pretty sophisticated about the way we look at this stuff. And ultimately what we decided was that we just need to like become better game designers and like really think about like how do we harness like the value of bots in a way that like does useful energy and useful work for the ecosystem. I don't know how to do that yet, so that's like a work in progress. To be honest, I don't have to go like hey, this has worked, this didn't. But I do think like when you look at your economic model, like the idea of like you have to have skin in the game, like that was also something that was mentioned earlier. I think that's pretty important if you're going to have people come in. So a little bit what we're going to next. Mobile user growth. Like we're going to launch the game on mobile. We'll let you know how it goes. I think that's going to be a real test. Like I think like we have like essentially a lot of really friendly, high engaged retention users. Like the one thing I like to credit us on is that we try to be as intellectually honest as possible. And like I'm under no disillusions that the retention numbers that we're seeing are like real retention numbers, like compared to say like a normal person like installing the game off an app store. So like I'm really excited to see like what is our actual retention. I think the mobile is like the survival of the fittest. It's like the jungle, right? In terms of like what works, what doesn't. On the tech side, we are looking at unit economic profitability. So now we're looking at like our entire stack of like, okay, like this is how much it costs to run the chains, this is how much it costs to run the indexers, and actually like, and then like how much are we monetizing across both the direct shop sales and also the secondary transactions on the marketplace? Is that enough to cover the cost? It's not there yet, but I think we can get there. Guilds is really interesting. Again, people come for the game, they stay for the community. I think guilds just like supercharge that, really lean into kind of the social dynamics. One of the things that's kind of interesting there is there like a guilds ERC at some point that like could end up being the thing that like is cross. I see the GG Quest days is here, so maybe you can help us figure that out. and just continue reducing shipping speed. I really do believe that just like the more you ship, the more you learn, and so we're gonna just keep doing that. I think I'm exactly at 15 minutes, but if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them here or at the break. Yeah.